Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. I'm thrilled that you joined us today. And this is the second half of the Wednesday show, so we're always looking forward to Singing River Health Talk. And I have to tell you, every week it's the same feeling that we get to meet such dedicated professionals, doctors and others that are doing their work every day to help people live as happy and as healthy a lives as they can possibly live. And it's just great getting to know them better. And today is really no exception. We've got Dr. April Ulmer with us today. She's known as the Tummy Doctor. She's a board-certified pediatric gastroenterologist at Singing River Kids and Tummies in Gulfport and Ocean Springs. And we're going to talk about where she came from. How did she get in this business? And what does she do at Singing River Health Systems? Without any further ado, let me welcome Dr. Ulmer to the Ricky Matthews Show. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Well, so for those of you who are listening on the radio and not seeing this, Dr. Ulmer, what you're missing is a doc with a beautiful smile and someone who clearly is passionate about what she's doing. You wear it on your sleeves, don't you?
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do love it. I love it so much. And I tell people all the time, if I wasn't doing this, I don't know what I'd be doing. It's one of those things it truly is a calling. I've been blessed and fortunate enough to find what I've been called to do. I was born and raised in a small town called McGee, Mississippi. It's about an hour south of Jackson, about an hour north of Hattiesburg. Love growing up in the country. A certified country girl. I grew up, I have brothers and boy cousins next door. So whatever the boys are doing, that's what I was doing. We were playing outside all day long, and it really shaped the way I think I view the world. Just, the importance of family, of committing to things, to following through on things. I was fortunate that my parents were big into education. My mom and dad were both teachers, and so they really pushed education in us, and that allowed me to really find my passion and give me sort of the stick-to-itiveness to finish med school. But yeah, I was fortunate to go to University of Mississippi School of Medicine. I went to Xavier University in New Orleans first, and then went back home to UMMC. And that was just a great education. We saw everything, such commitment from all the doctors that I saw there. And that really resonated with me too. It made a big impression on me. Back then, because I'm a little bit of an older doc. Like I said, I've been doing this for over 20 years. But, you could just feel the passion in the doctors working. They tried to do their best for all their patients, no matter what. Long hours, long nights, they stopped at nothing. And that is really, in my mind, how medicine is supposed to be practiced, how it's supposed to be performed. And so that made a huge impression on me. So once again, I was fortunate enough to be in my home state with, surrounded by a familiar setting, people I knew and loved, a culture that was familiar to me, but also be surrounded by amazing attendings and people who are really committed to doing the right thing by all the people of Mississippi. So it made a big impression on me for sure.
Listen, I used to be president of NOLA Media Group and the publisher of the Times-Picayune in New Orleans. And my number two there, who was really, I named him the publisher of the Times-Picayune at a point along the way. But his name was, my number two was named David Francis. But as you know, his father was the president of Xavier for over 40 years. What a terrific, but he was a great leader, and the university is a terrific university.
It absolutely is. Dr. Norman Francis is who you're referring to, I'm sure. He is, he's still just such a figurehead at Xavier University. We just had our centennial celebration about a week and a half ago. And it was just inspiring to see how far the university has come. But we still celebrate Dr. Francis immensely because he was at the helm when I was there. And once again, it was just that leadership where he led by example in terms of giving of yourself, in terms of giving it all, in terms of sticking to things and being committed to things that matter. That's really what he passed along to us as Xavierites, regardless of what our field was. Obviously Xavier's big as far as predicting. Said that, but it's really neat because we go back and it's almost like we're siblings, like we all kind of grew up together with the university. So it's really a unique perspective, unique feeling. But yeah, Dr. Francis is amazing. We still just we praise him, and we're so grateful that we had the chance to come up under him as well as Xavier. But yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was honored to call him a friend and a very close advisor during my time in New Orleans. What an amazing man! What a great family. Listen, you went to Washington
Absolutely.
D.C. Yeah, you went to Pennsylvania. You went to New York. You really kind of, after you got out of school, you did a lot of studying that ultimately brought you where you are now. But how did you decide that the pediatric side of your profession is where you wanted to spend your life?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. I knew that I had a lot of interest. I'm sort of a lifelong learner. And when I finished at UMMC, I wanted to kind of venture outside the state a little bit because I wanted to get perspectives from all over the country because my goal was always to come back home again. And so ultimately, that's what led me to DC. And initially, when I was in DC, I was doing internal medicine because internal medicine did fascinate me. The whole medicine, thinking through problems, part of it, those types of things. But I did a year in internal medicine in Washington D.C., and I really missed the kids and the families. More so, I think, than I realized I would. It's like, wow, I just really miss kids, and I miss talking to parents. And internal medicine is really, I mean, it's important and it's fulfilling. But man, I'm really looking for a little something else, I think. And so after I did 1 year of internal medicine in D.C., I actually ended up doing a year of research at the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences. And so I did some bench research, gave me a chance to be in the lab a little bit, do some basic sciences research, and also just kind of recalibrate and think about what I was really missing and what I wanted to do. So after a year of that, I ended up sort of kind of starting over a little bit. And I said, you know what? I got it. I'll do med. I can do the medicine, I can do the pediatrics, and that was a 4-year program, okay, which is what took me to Pennsylvania. I was fortunate to get invited to join an amazing 4-year program in Pennsylvania, kind of in the middle of nowhere, but we saw everything, which was amazing. And and I had never lived outside of Mississippi before, besides New Orleans when I was in college. So these are all big deals, like going to D.C., which is a big city, and then going to Pennsylvania, a place I'd never even visited, let alone lived. But that was an amazing experience. Enjoyed doing internal medicine and pediatrics. And I think that even though my first love was pediatrics, being able to do the internal medicine side actually brought a lot to pediatrics because it kind of gave me the confidence to just go out on my own and do things because internists tend to be a little bit more hands-off. Pediatricians are very hands-on. When I was doing my pediatric side of my training, you couldn't do anything without, like, you have to get specific instructions on how to do anything because everybody's really, really protective of kids, obviously. So being able to have a little bit of internal medicine under my belt gave me the confidence that I needed to really be a good pediatrician as well. And after those 4 years of internal medicine and peds, I knew for sure I only wanted to do peds subspecialty. I wanted to commit myself to kids and families. I had fallen in love with GI. And one of the reasons is because I do love the procedural aspect of it, but I also love having the time to sit with the families. Because sometimes in surgical specialties, it's more like you're so heavily focused on doing the surgeries, doing the procedures that you don't really get as much time to spend with the families. I wanted to do a little bit of both. Okay, so being able to do pediatric GI allowed me to really do that. So that's my least doing that. And to do that fellowship, I actually went to Buffalo, New York. So I kept going further and further north until eventually I decided, you know what, I'm going to hit Canada, so I better turn back around and go home. So that's what I did. So after that, I came back to Jackson. My dad, I was like, thank goodness I'm back home. So it worked out great.
Well, when did you become known as the tummy doctor?
It was really when I was in Jackson. So after fellowship, I came back to Jackson. I joined a very large adult GI practice there. I was, like I said, brand new out of fellowship. Had been married a few years, but shortly after getting there, realized I was about to have my first child. So I actually created that program because there were no other pediatric gastroenterologists in private practice in the state. The only pediatric GIs in the state who were working there. And so when I joined this practice, I had to hit the ground running. I had to build it. I had to learn quickly on my feet. I had to learn how to take care of patients from everywhere, all walks of life, every problem known to man. And I think after a while, people just started calling me the tummy doctor because I really did eat, sleep, drink, and breathe pediatric GI therapy for a while, especially before the birth of my own kids. It was just, I was spending countless hours working and doing tummy doctor stuff. So somewhere along the way, the name just kind of stuck. I think parents probably referred to me as the tummy doctor, like when they were telling me, introducing me to their kids. It's like, oh, it's Dr. Ulmer. She's the tummy doctor. It's going to be fine. She's not going to do anything ouchy. I was like, yeah, that's right. I'm the tummy doctor. I'm not going to do anything ouchy. So eventually it just stuck from there, I think.
So we're visiting with Dr. April Ulmer. She is the tummy doctor. She's a pediatric gastroenterologist at Singing River. Kids and tummies, very unique specialty. Right. When we come back on the other side, we'll tell you more about what this division of Singing River Health System is all about. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. We're having Singing River Health Talk. We do every Wednesday, the second half of the show. And today we're visiting with Dr. April Ulmer, who's a pediatric gastroenterologist known as the tummy doctor. And she's part of a division of Singing River Health System that is focused on children, care for infants and children and adolescents up to the age of 20. And she has a terrific team. So what we're going to do in this segment in the short time we have remaining is talk a little bit about what this division really focuses on and to also talk a little bit about her team. So when you think about Singing River Kids and Tummies, how do you tell people about what that's all about?
So I basically tell people that we deal with everything that has to do with the GI tract, from the mouth to the bottom. Everything in between, essentially, from newborn babies up to, 20, sometimes 21-year-olds. So then they'll usually have specific questions, like they'll say, okay, what about things like tummy pain? What about things like, pooping or reflux? All of that. I tell them all of that. Anything that has to do really from here down, we deal with. And that's really kind of a tall order, especially when it comes to kids, because sometimes kids do come in with vague complaints. Oh, my tummy hurts. Oh, I don't feel hungry, things like that. And under every one of those sort of umbrellas, let's say tummy pain, for example, there's 100 different possible diagnoses. So it's a unique skill, not just because of the types of things that we take care of, but because of our patient population and the fact that you have to be uniquely in tune to communicating with kids, figuring out how to say things in a way that's not just disarming for them, but also in a way that they can actually understand what you mean. I mean, sometimes we use, words and the kids kind of look at me like I say, okay, how's your pooping? And they kind of look at me and they look at their mom like, can she ask me that? I'm like, that's what we talk about here. And so after a while, after they get comfortable with me, they just kind of get this smirk and then they'll answer my questions because they know that we're very low key. We're very informal. You might notice I'm in my scrubs. The reason why we do that and we keep things colorful and fun is because it's all about making the patient and the family comfortable. Because at the end of the day, we're there to help them. But in order to do that, we have to be able to communicate with them in a way that resonates with them and that makes sense. And I think it's not just with the patients, with the families as well, with the parents. I see so many parents who come to me sometimes and they say, yeah, I was maybe talking to somebody else about this, but they just didn't listen to me. They kept blowing me off. And so one of the biggest things that we do at my practice, in addition to taking care of everything from the mouth down, is we listen. We listen to the families. We make ourselves accessible. We validate them. I explain to them oftentimes, look, I'm a mom too, and knowing as much as I know from the pediatric standpoint and the pediatric GI standpoint, when I first had my daughters, I went some of the same things. You question whether or not you're doing this right, whether or not you know what you're doing. And so I think that really resonates with them as well, because they realize that even though we may not always have all the answers on the tip of our finger, we're going to work hard for them and we're going to hear them no matter what. And we're going to be with them until the end. So that really makes a big difference to the patients and the families that we take care of.
Yeah, Dr. Ulmer, one of the things that comes out time and time again is this team approach at Singing River Health System. And in the short time we have left, tell me about your team.
Yeah. So my team's amazing. And so Kids and Tummies in and of itself has been in existence for 8 years. Okay. Like I said, I was with adult GI groups in the past, and then I decided to branch out on my own and create something that was specifically for pediatrics because kids and families have unique needs. Fortunately, here recently, we've been able to join with Singing River Health Systems, which has made a huge impact on the quality of care that we're able to deliver because of the resources and the commitment that we have have from the health system behind us, but also just the support. I have an amazing team. Okay, I have 2 nurse practitioners. I have 2 nurses. They're all amazing. They all really, really have embraced our mission at Kids and Tummies to be available, to be there for families, and to do the best work possible. But having the team of Singing River Health System behind us, like I said, has made a huge impact, because the things that come up that previously I would have to deal with or take care of it when I should be seeing patients, I have a team now that can help us do that. I have a team that can help us reach more patients and can help facilitate the care and the appointments and all that. So I really do see it as a global team approach. Like I said, I can't talk enough about my nurse practitioners, my front desk person and reception, my nurses, but having Singing River Health System behind us feels like suddenly we've just expanded our family. It's just an expanded team approach with other people, another health system that is also just as committed to delivering quality care to all the children in the Gulf Coast region as we've been over the past 8 years before we were joined with Singing River.
Well, I know they were not pretty. They were very excited about having you guys, and it did a big ribbon cutting back on November the 13th to announce it and to celebrate the fact that Kids and Tummies was part of Singing River Health System today. We've got less than a minute left for families that are maybe having some challenges in this area. Urge them to come see you.
Absolutely. So what I tell parents is I'd always rather hear from them than not. If there is a question that they have, if their child is doing anything, even if they're not sure what it means, call us, we'll figure it out together. And like I said, we do everything from tummy pain to weight loss to excessive weight gain to jaundice, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, reflux, all of it. And like I said, we can help them sort through what the biggest issues are. The most important thing is just to reach out. And like I said, for parents, if you're not sure if it's the right time, the best thing to do is let us hear from you. We'll get you in, we'll sit and we'll talk about it, and we'll figure out if we're the best stop for you. And if not, we'll figure out where to get you to make sure that your little one or not so little one is all taken care of.
Dr. April Ulmer, the tummy doctor from Singing River Health. It's been a pleasure to get to know you better. Good luck to you.
Thank you. It's been wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. It's been a pleasure. And like I said, thank you for having me.
You bet. It's been my pleasure. This has been Singing River Health Talk. Have a great day.